everybody. Welcome in. It's episode 2 of the Interview Podcast with your host, Joel.
And Lynette.
And we have our good friends here, Addison and Morgan. Addison is the creator. Is that the right word for
Aj'S Oddities?
Aj'S Oddities. I just want to pronounce it correctly. But welcome in, guys.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Glad to be here.
Appreciate being here.
Yeah, so...
Oddities, you did get it right.
Yeah, Lynette got it.
Tough name for some people.
It's not that bad. It's not bad.
English isn't his first language.
Yeah, so hablo español, everybody. So that's the biggest reason I struggle with English language. But thank you guys for coming in. I know that we're in a 3-hour difference right now. We're in New York and they're in California. They probably got to work. So thank you guys for joining to our show. We really do appreciate it. Addison, he does a lot of leather goods. So tell us a little about that. Addison, what do you do? What are you up to? What's your passion?
So lately just been working on doing small leather goods. So different styles of wallets, bifolds, minimalist mainly, just to get some basic techniques and skills down. Lately, this year, which would be 2021, in case someone in 2022 is watching this, we just started our business, Aj'S Oddities, officially in Redlands, California. So got that going, mainly doing orders just for word of mouth type of deal. Haven't done nothing on Etsy just yet because I still work full time.
Yeah.
So just getting in orders when I can.
I love it. So how did you even get into this, Addison? Like, out of all the things you've could have found a passion in or likes in, how did you end up, guiding towards like wallets and designing those type of things?
Well, so leather crafting has been kind of like an on and off hobby for me since I was like 15. I got my first leather stamping kit at 15 from a close friend of mine, Sean Atkins. I think it was his last name, Sean Atkins. Him and his wife used to hang out with me when I was a kid and stuff. They were a younger couple. So we'd like go hang out, get food, service, that kind of stuff, And they're originally from Texas, which is like a big epicenter for leather goods, obviously, panels and all that kind of stuff, Yeah. And he gave me a little stamp kit. It was a full alphabet, stamps, some pieces of leather, size of coasters, small little squares and stuff like that. And he was like, here, I'll teach you how to stamp some of this stuff. And I was like, oh, cool. So I just started doing stamping. I didn't really cut or design or anything like that as a kid. It was just like, oh, I'll stamp some coasters, or I started doing keychains. I made keychains for my friends and family and stuff like that with just their initials and then some border designs and that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
And then I want to say I did that for a while, probably a year or so. And then when my dad was cleaning out the garage, he saw the box. I don't know if he realized or didn't realize it was my leather stamping stuff, but he was just he thought it was junk, so he threw it away.
Oh gosh.
It wasn't until I came back out in the garage and I was like, where's my leather stamping stuff? And he was like, I don't know, what are you talking about?
I never saw that.
No! So, never found it. At least the stamps and stuff. I still had some pieces of leather that somehow have made it through the years to my garage. Wow. Whether it was from my dad's storage garage, from my mom's house, and then somehow I got here. There's still some pieces of leather I still have from, that first guy that showed me how to do it. But I just, throughout the years, I hadn't had time. Either didn't have time, didn't have space. I lived on Catalina forever, and it was a small 300 square foot studio and with a downstairs neighbor, so I can't do a big whole lot of noise, It wasn't until I got my garage finally, and I was like, oh, I have space, I can do some stuff. So probably 2 years ago is when I actually was like, hey, I'm going to try doing something, because I needed a wallet. My wallet was falling apart.
Okay.
So I went and got one of those beginner kits from Leather. It's a store that is like the grandfather of leatherworking, I guess, if you're wanting to get into it.
Okay.
But they make little packets for like different things, bifold wallets, bags, whatever. They'll cut the leather for you. They make holes for the stitching. They give you the needles, the thread, all that stuff.
The whole setup.
The whole setup. So I bought one of those just to kind of look at the pieces that they cut and get like an idea of like how a general bifold was cut. Like I'd never designed one before. So, anyways, long story short, that's kind of how that.
No, that's good. That's the whole point. We want to know these things, because the whole reason behind this show is understanding how your life was eroded, like we are all eroded by the river of life, and somehow you were affected that way, where you got into so it was basically a good role model, right? Someone who took interest in you and gave you this kit, and just kind of lit a small fire, and later on you almost like a utility, because you said that you're lacking your own wallet, so you're like, might as well, I should make mine. I know kind of how to do it. Let me go back into it and do it myself. That's pretty good. And how has it grown from then? From the basics to now. Like, how are you until this point?
So I still consider myself pretty early on in the game, despite compliments from my wife and other people who've gotten different wallets than mine. I really appreciate them, but you're your own worst critic. So I still look at them and I'm like, no, they could be better. They could be different.
Yeah, of course.
But I have designed myself 2 different styles of wallet. I have bought patterns from other people that sell their patterns, and they allow you to make the wallet and sell the wallet, but not the pattern. But you can sell the wallet that you make. It's like kind of a fund your craft type of deal,
Okay.
So, but recently I developed one bifold, and then my first one was a minimalist type wallet called the Pioneer, because it was my first one.
I love it. I love it.
Starting to dabble into some design, trying to find some ideas, inspirations from, being out at work or cruising on YouTube or something like that, different leather workers, trying to find my style,
I love it. And for example, what makes a good wallet. Like, for example, us in photography, we could easily, scroll on Instagram, and we might be harder critics on some, people who, say they're photographers, right? And so we, because of that, they say they're a photographer, we are a little bit, we try to, find like, okay, is this a good picture, or kind of hate on it? So you must know like a good quality a wallet, and like those, and leather in general, like what is a good leather. So what is like something you look at, like, for example, if I just go to Ross and buy myself a wallet, what would you look at in comparison to what I look at to what makes it a good quality piece?
So it's a good question. A lot of department store stuff, you see a few major differences between department store and handcrafted. The leather is generally going to be thinner, a lot thinner. The stitching is going to be thin thread, probably done with the sewing machine, which, no hate on sewing machine. I got to say that now, because there are leather craft community that are like, hey, sewing machines are good. I'm not about that whole, like,
the controversy.
there's that, which we can get into that later, but you're going to find that Ross wallet is going to last you maybe a year, year and a half, 2 years at best if you don't abuse it. But I'm trying to go for the wallet that's going to like outlive you.
Oh, I love it.
Like, your kids are going to be like, oh, this is Dad's old wallet, That's I don't know how long it's going to last. I haven't put it to the test or anything. But I think it would at least go to like,
but that's a beautiful concept, right? That's to think that, nowadays, especially nowadays, maybe 20, maybe 40, 50 years ago, it was more common, but it's rare to hear, I passed this down to my son, if it's not like money, of course, or things like that, but something that an heirloom, something you value. You see that usually with rings, wedding bands, things like that. So I love the idea behind it, how you want to create something because it doesn't seem like you're passionate to make money, right? You're not doing this to make a quick buck. I'm trying to hustle and make money. No, the real reason behind it is because you value the idea of a longevity and the connection you can have, like a human, even though it's an inanimate object, you can have a connection and you can pass that on to somebody.
It's got a story that can carry with it, because it's not something you're going to buy in the store. Because it has your tools, it has stuff that you requested, whether it's like an extra hidden pocket somewhere or a certain color thread, or maybe even a design you saw that you were like, I like this design. Can you do something similar?
Wow.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. That's such a cool idea. Because again, we don't live in that world, right? We don't live in a world where people want to, of course, people think about the customer because the customer at the end of the day wants to buy your product. But they don't think, I feel like you're taking an extra step. You're taking an extra step for the customer because if you really wanted to, you thin out the leather, right? Like the major corporations, because it costs less money for you. And that means that eventually their wallet's going to die and they're going to need to buy another one, right? And they're going to go back to the department store and buy another one. And in your case, you're not doing that, right? You want to do a good quality, if I sell you one, but I know that that's mine and you're going to take it, you're going to pass it on to your kids. Like what value do you give that compared to what department stores do?
Yeah. Are you asking me?
Yeah. Sorry. What is that? Yeah, you're good.
True, man. True.
I love it.
I mean, yeah, from like a monetary sense, I mean, I've seen guys, because this is the worst part it's like, I have a hard time, like I was telling you guys before, like, especially with like photography and stuff like that, I have a hard time pricing my own stuff.
Yep.
Because I know, like I'm the one that made it. I know where I messed up and I fixed it. It's always going to stand out to me. But the person who's getting the wallet, they're not going to know. But just because of how it looks, because I fixed it, right? But I'm going to know.
Yeah.
But, it's like, it's hard to price that kind of stuff. So like lately I've been kind of, I don't know, I guess you could say undercutting myself with it, because I still work full time. I'm not, this is something I do in my free time. This isn't like you said, I'm not trying to get this like big company started out of it or something like that. It's therapeutic for me to do. And if I can sell it and make a small amount that I can kind of continue to slowly build a business out of it, then cool. I'm not trying to gouge anyone for anything. But there's some guys out there that do it for like their livelihood, which is awesome, and they get the skills to back that too. I mean, granted, their prices reflect that, but it's like, that's a good looking wallet, that's a good looking bag, or that's a, they do it all up. I want to get to that point.
Yeah. And I can imagine though, because you know the value of it though, you'd be willing to pay for something like that because you understand the quality behind it. And I think Lynn and I can agree, like that goes with photography as well, because a lot of people need photography for weddings and events. And sometimes they're like, my cousin has a camera, they can do it, we'll give them $20 and boom, and to each his own. But, one that knows the business and knows the side of what quality is at the end of the day, it's your value and what you value yourself, but you're giving them good content and good quality services. And that's why they're paying for it. Right. It's just kind of funny. It's like finding a good balance, right? It's finding a good balance.
Finding balance, right?
It's tough sometimes. And Morgan, how have you seen like the progression of him, like from like starting out like in the garage and getting some things? Were you supportive at the beginning, or you're like, are you sure about this? Like, well, how are you feeling?
I mean, I was supportive. He can be a dreamer, and that's not like, I'm not like trying to make a dig at that, because that's not. But he like a lot of different hobbies, So he's done woodworking, he built our kitchen table.
It's a cool table.
Yeah, I love it. It's amazing. He built a bench to match it for like my entryway. He's wanted to do computer coding, so he spent like a few months trying to do computer coding. But when you tell me like the stories, like when he was younger, doing leather working and then wanting to get back into it and make his own wallet, I'm like, yeah, why not? Go for it. And he was originally in this room, in our spare room. And
this room right here.
I mean, our desk has marks from his tools.
Oh gosh.
Some of his protective sheets.
Can't really see, but there's like they're called pricking irons or stitching chisels, one of the two. Chisels mainly go through the leather, they're supposed to, but I didn't have like a little mat underneath it, and it's a wood table and just straight into the table.
Oh my gosh.
So now there's like these 4 big holes right there for my
it's just a nice reminder of where he started.
Yeah.
So we were in the room, and then he had a lot of stuff and a lot of tools, and we were like, all right, we gotta like move you out of the house. Like you need more room. You need to be able to like leave your stuff out without
Yeah.
it up, whatnot. But so it's like the one thing that he's really stuck to, and he really likes it, and he enjoys designing and stuff like that. So it's been really cool to see.
Nice. And do you think you've seen him grown like a specific quality, something that he's had to like now apply even more through this art or this passion he has with leather work? I mean, I'm trying to put you. I'm not trying to have like a marital discussion here. I'm just curious. You learn a lot through your passion, so I'm just curious.
Yeah. I think trial and error and like patience. And while he's like got patience, and he deals with me, so he already has patience. But like with woodworking, it's a little bit more. It's easier to like go out and get a piece of wood. Like if you mess up, you're like, okay. But if you mess up on leather, it's not as easy.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, this was like a really nice quality piece of leather. It's a little bit, it pulls at your heartstrings a little bit more. So patient, taking things like slowly, and then doing trial and error. He's worked through some of his designs really well. So yeah,
patience for sure.
Patience. You agree, Addison?
It's like the Newlywed Show, and we had the thing. I would have had patience written down, like for sure.
Oh wow. And do you think that's the quality you still have to keep working on to keep improving your work, Addison, or do you think there's something else you can add to it?
Constantly. I mean, it's the reason you need patience is like the most important skill. I feel like if you're starting out with any craft or any type of art, but not just like patience with the stuff you're using, because you're usually going to use beginner stuff. Not like just the tools, but patience with yourself. Like that understanding of like, I'm new at this. It's okay. I messed this up. It's okay. You can it's not the end of the world. Sometimes it might feel like it, especially when you're working on a nice piece of leather.
He's all thinking about those. He's all thinking of those like specific wallets. Like,
Right, yeah, you're right at the tail end of something you're just about to finish, and then you realize you did something wrong. But again, it's that patience, because the patience will help you to say like, it's okay, keep going, keep moving, right? You're gonna learn this. That just taught you something. Let it teach you something, and then move on, right?
I love it. That's a great thing to take from it. Have you ever been to that point though, where you're close to it? You're like, man, like throwing in the towel. Have you been at like close to that juncture before?
Not yet.
Good. I'm not trying to, I'm just curious if there's like a certain project that you're like, I don't know.
Well, I feel like the way I'm set up right now, the fact that I am still working full time, like a burden on me to try and like, we got to push these orders out. We got to get this done because, our livelihood depends on it. I still like try to get at least a 2 or 3 week lead time on stuff. If people want me to make stuff, I try to push myself and challenge myself to be a little bit more efficient and quicker with certain things. But my livelihood doesn't depend on it. There's that, and I know there's a few guys that I've watched and followed and stuff like that where their livelihood did depend on it. So their moment of throwing in the towel was like, I needed to support my family. I should just give this up and go get a job, right?
Yeah.
My own job or something like that. But then they would tell stories of how they stuck it out and like made changes, and then were able to like grow their business to a point where they could support their family like permanently. Which is pretty cool. Now, obviously, like I said, I haven't reached that point yet, so I don't have burden saying like, you need to do something else. It's just kind of, I make a mistake, I move on, fix it, or try it again, and then.
And have you ever thought, like, do you have like a number? I have me and my one of my good friends, my best friends, we talk about like with our passions and things like that we truly enjoy to do, and we enjoy this type of work. Like again, for me, photography. Do you have like a number in mind? Like, and you have to throw that number in. It's more like a yes or no, and like that type of question. Do you have like a number in mind? Like if I had X amount of orders coming in monthly, or X amount of this, or if I had a workshop, or if do you have any variables that if you could reach, you can then break away and just do this full time?
I haven't really boiled it down to that just yet. Okay.
We talk about it weekly, though.
We do talk about it.
Oh, really?
But the thing is that for that to even be possible, prices would have to scale to a point where it could be sustainable and I could be off work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I feel like I say with my skill level, I feel like there's still some improving I need to do before I get to that point.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of right now, like I said, we're just kind of charging, smaller prices, I guess. Undercutting price. My folds were like, I think we're at like 65, I think, and minimalists are like 40 something, 45, I think, depending on leather.
Yeah.
You want and stuff like that, but the scale to that point, the prices would have to be a little bit higher to at least take me out of the job I'm in,
Yeah. And with you working, if you did, leave your full-time job, you could just commit full-time to this, and you can maybe scale that. And this is my opinion. I'm not saying it's the right opinion, but I truly believe the value of anything is the story behind it. And I believe that your product has a great story. Like the idea behind it. Like I think of like Apple, or like these big corporations, big companies that, in the 3-4 year span, they make the same product, essentially changing little things, but people keep buying them. One, because of quality, and two, they do like great packaging. They do everything right, like marketing, all these things. And now you think of like clothing brands that, are just a white t-shirt with like Gucci on it, and it's like $400. And it's the same it's the same material as a Hanes shirt you buy at Walmart for $20 for a pack of 5. The reason why is what people put value on it. So I think you're onto something. I mean, you just keep grinding at it. And if that story behind it is, I think I would buy that. It's just a great, a solid, what's the
foundation?
Word? Foundation. That's the word I was looking for. But with that in mind, have you ever been concerned that, leather goods can be obsolete anyway, with like 3D printing coming in, plastics, metals, wood? I was like researching this, and apparently there's wood wallets. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I didn't know that either. I've seen different like metal wallets and all that kind of stuff. Here's what I'm going to say about because the original question of leather being obsolete.
Yeah.
goods being obsolete. As long as there's a style, as long as there's a fashion section of it, most leather goods will not be gone. That's what I think. Will leather wallets be gone? Maybe. You know, a lot of things we used to hold in a wallet are now going digital.
That's
If
true.
more people
Yeah.
did things, then wallets may go away, or they may change. Maybe you're going to start holding something else. I don't know.
Yeah,
So-
that's true.
It'll be interesting to see how that changes. I don't know.
Do you
But-
guys
Leather goods themselves, though, I mean, you still have. That's like saying like, or a shoe's going to become obsolete. They'll still make shoes, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Or even like leather in general. They're starting to make leathers out of not even just like cowhides. There's like other animals they're making leathers out of. There's plants that they're making leathers out of.
Oh,
Plants?
really?
I found this place in Jalisco that's making leather out of cactus.
It's pretty cool.
That's cool.
Wow, that is
I like
pretty
that.
legit.
I was gonna order a little swatch book just to see what they're about. I think they only come in a different colors and stuff, different patterns and styles, but they make they're made in like 1 millimeter,
They're like really,
really thin, really thin.
Oh, okay.
It looks mainly kind of like upholstery almost style.
Are they green?
Some are green, some are black, some are white.
Okay.
Have different dye.
Cool.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Do you have a prediction? Do you have a prediction where this could possibly go? And we're not gonna hold you on it. We're not gonna be like, oh, Addison said.
You heard it here
You
first.
hit it here first. Everybody subscribe.
Like and subscribe for that. You gotta throw that in because like and subscribe for the algorithm. No, just kidding.
For the algorithm.
So, like I said, leather goods themselves, they're gonna change, but they're still gonna be there.
Yeah.
You know, women love handbags.
That's true.
Women love backpacks. Guys love backpacks.
Yeah.
Jackets, all that kind of stuff.
True.
All that stuff that's made out of leather. Leather, the material leather might change, you know, from where it's originated from, whether it's, you know, everybody becomes vegan or, you know, I don't know. how it's gonna go.
That's
But
true.
then if you just move to the cactus leather.
Yeah,
you go.
exactly.
Cactus leather bag.
That's cool. That's really cool. I would buy that.
There's one
You
bag
could
now.
probably make a bag out of that.
Yeah.
There you
It
go.
might
You can
be
try
a
it on
liner.
us.
It might be a liner. I don't know.
You can try it on us.
It's hard. There's not a whole lot you can do with 1 mil unless it's like a liner or an upholstery.
Oh, okay.
You might be able to, you know,
Sandwich them.
stack it, make something thicker
Yeah.
out of it. Possibly.
Maybe like a little coin purse.
There's a lot of guys in Italy that would know how to do that stuff. They work with a lot of softer leathers,
Oh, interesting.
designer stuff, you know.
Oh. I have noticed that that you know you'll see ads all over the place, like smaller wallets and things like that. Are you like pro, con? Like what are you? How are you feeling? Like because you mentioned one of your first wallets was a minimalistic wallet. Is that due to like because you were learning how to make them, or is that because you saw the industry going that way, or is it just because you truly like those type of wallets?
I love minimalist wallets.
Okay.
The less in my pocket, the better.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
You know, I used to be the type of guy that had a wallet, and it was like stacked with all kinds of stuff in it, you know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's not until you, as a guy, realize I don't need all this stuff all the time. Like, you
Yeah.
start to say, like, all right, I don't need that, and you realize I only carry these few cards with me and like some cash, and that's all I carry.
Yeah.
You're like, well, maybe I should get something smaller, and then the minimalist wallet comes up, and you're like, oh yeah, I can fit 4 or 5 cards in there with, you know, some folded up cash, and I'm done, you know?
That's
Mhm.
true. I have a
Minimal-
I was gonna mention that, and that has a funny story when we started. Was it when we were dating or once we got married?
Definitely before we got married, but I don't know if we were engaged already or what.
But she saw my wallet. What'd you do with it?
Well, it was like this thick, first of all. Every time he sat down, he had to take it out and put it somewhere. Like,
Oh.
what do you have in there? You don't need all that stuff. So I looked through it. I just started taking everything out. I'm like, you don't use this, you don't use this, you don't use this. Your Bethel ID, Bethel's closed. Like, everything was just like out. A whole like plastic bag just full of cards that he never used. And he still doesn't use. He doesn't know where they are. So I'm like, see, you didn't need them. So
Yeah, but like, what like that one moment where I'm like in a specific, I don't know, Walgreens. I'm like, where's my Walgreens card? Just joking.
never use a Walgreens
I'm just
card.
joking.
That Pinkberry card.
A Pinkberry card.
Every time you forget it's in there, so you don't even get a stamp, and it just stays in there.
Exactly.
I need them to punch a hole so I get a free
I got
frozen
a free
yogurt.
coffee. And a free yogurt.
Get it out of your wallet.
Oh my god.
So minimalist, my favorite. I like minimalist. Bifolds obviously are the close second. I love bifolds. I like bifolds. I like the different style variations you can do with bifolds because it's almost like opening a book, because you got the outside, you're judging the cover, right? You're looking at the grain, the edges, the stitching, and all that kind of stuff. Then you open it up, and there can be a variety of whatever styles of pockets you think a wallet could have. It could have swoops, it could have sharp lines, it could have little V's going like this, or waves going this way and this way in the pocket.
Wow.
There's a lot of different variations that people have gotten creative with, and it's interesting to see everybody's own take on a bifold.
Interesting.
Trifolds, I absolutely hate and despise trifolds.
Really?
Is the trifold with like the little flap in the middle? Is that what a trifold is? Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's like a thick monstrosity.
Yeah. They're
Does not
big.
in your pocket or your back pocket. You're gonna have problems. And
Isn't that like a real thing too?
No, it's a real thing. Yeah. Even for girls, like their phones and stuff.
Oh, I should not.
my lower back was hurting for a while because I used to have trifolds.
Wow.
The old cloth with the Velcro.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I used to have one of those, and it got so big with stuff when it was in my back pocket. I actually was having low back problems when I was starting to work for a job I worked for. There was some driving involved, and I'd start having back issues, and I'm like, what is going on here? And that's when it started to circle around. We're like, oh yeah, if you have a big wallet, you're sick.
Wow. You had too much money, Addison. Yeah, too much money. That thing was thick. You got all those Benjamins,
All right. What was it back then? Because I don't think Pinkberry was out. I don't know, some other
TCBY?
something like that. TCBY cards or something. And then, I don't know, some receipts from the gas station of getting my Polar Pops or something.
Polar Pops. Nice.
When the wallet would have the coin, the little zipper for the coins in
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Plastic slide-in deal so you could put pictures and stuff in it.
Yeah.
Your kids are on your phone now. Don't put pictures in them.
That's true. That's true.
That's a good point. That's
Yeah.
a good point. Did you ever get into the I'm not sure if it was a fad or if it's still a thing. I remember when I was in high school, there was these guys that were making duct tape wallets. Is that still a
I
thing?
remember that.
I don't know if
Me
that's
too.
still a thing. It might be. I mean, I think I made one, and then I was like, "This is dumb." They gave it- But I remember that fad. That was huge.
Yeah.
Everybody's making
Yeah, they're making themed, I remember at school Superman wallets or DC Universe, Batman wallets and stuff. And they were selling them. They're trying to hustle. I respect it. That's pretty cool. So it's not a thing anymore, though. You don't think it's a thing?
You'd have to ask someone who's in high school.
Yeah, that's true. Lynette? I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
Yeah. Sure, you could buy something on Etsy.
What? You probably could. You probably could.
I
Yeah.
can see the retro now.
Yeah. It's vintage.
Everything's vintage. Yeah.
Mhm.
Old.
Honey, Green Day is on the classic rock station.
No.
Classic rock.
Classic rock.
Really?
It's not that old. What the heck?
That old.
That's scary.
The Gen Z, it's old. They're like, what's Green Day?
What's
I
Green
don't like
Day?
the color green.
I don't like
Sound like a fun day.
Oh gosh, we're gonna get a bunch of hate. Gen Z, we're just joking. Asterisks. Support the show.
Comment, like, subscribe.
But really check. Like it's good.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
All right.
Yeah, and I was wondering if you've already learned some skills of doing this this type of wallet, this type of leather work. If you had to branch out to a different type of, creative work, either making backpacks and anything to do with leather. What would what's something that attracts you to make, to challenge your skills?
So there are a few different items that are kind of on the horizon that I'd like to venture into eventually. After I've funded the craft a little more and gotten to a point where I can spare, half of a hide or something like that.
Yeah, just go buy yourself a cow.
It'd be surprised. Well, I have 2 rolls in my right now that are sides. So like the whole side of a cow.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Like
So
the middle.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like the middle of the back to like just above the belly, because the belly it's its own piece. But so I have 2 of those. One of them is from a really nice tannery called Horwee. They're based out of Chicago. Been around since like 1902, I think. Old company, but they're like, the stuff they put out is like beautiful.
Oh yeah.
All different types of colors and styles and stuff like that, but they have a different tanning process. So they have different names. There's like a Essex, there's a Dublin, there's Derby, there's Chromixol. Like there's different type. And it's just a different way that they tan it. Different oils, different liquors and stuff like that they'll use to tan, different dyes they'll use or something like that, But they've got it down. They've got a science. They're awesome stuff.
It's like beautiful leather.
But they're also the, some iron stuff. And it's hard to like work your way up there because like the small little rinky dinks, like, like, buy this please. So,
My small business.
Por favor, apoyen, por favor.
So I've been trying to work anyways. But yeah, some projects like a backpack or something like that can take up like a big section of like a side or something, So it's like,
expensive.
Once you go into it, you got to be committed to it, Yeah. This is be a backpack whether you like it or not.
Wow.
But some items that I have on like the horizon of stuff I want to make, something in the near future. I want to do kind of like a ladies' clutch,
Okay.
Nice. Yeah.
I'm gonna start trying to venture into the stuff that the ladies would wear because, I'm not sexist or nothing, but they spend the monies. You know what I mean? They like
They got the monies.
Handbags. They like the bags. They like the shoes. That kind of stuff. So I'm gonna try to make some stuff to be a little more versatile for women to buy too.
I love it.
Bags. So handbags, some small bags maybe, over the shoulder type of bags,
Yeah.
And I do want to take a stab at like some Birkenstock style sandals.
Nice.
What is that? Can you explain that?
My Jesus sandals.
Oh, your Jesus sandals? Oh, Jesus ones?
He calls them my Jesus
The
ones.
Jesus ones.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Nice.
They're comfortable. Birkenstocks are known for being comfortable and like they're pretty durable. So I'm gonna like study hers to kind of see like how their pattern is and stuff like that, and see if I can make something similar to that sandal.
Interesting. That's pretty cool.
It's gonna be at one venture. It might be later on, but that's something I wanna.
Yeah.
I wanna try.
That's cool.
I love it. I love it.
A whole different set of skills for leather making. That's like shoemaking stuff.
Wow. How much work truly goes into like making anything like that? I feel like nowadays that's something that's again overlooked, because again, you can go to Ross and you buy, again, I'm not saying it's the highest quality, but you can buy, a Nike wallet for $20 at Ross, and then you would think nothing much of it. You just put in your wallet, you keep going. But how much work truly is it? Like,
It's In terms of like working hours or like how,
time? Yeah, time. How much,
for a skill, I'm not calling myself skilled, but like for somebody who's skilled, they could probably do like a wallet in at least less than 6 hours, maybe 5 hours or less. I don't know.
Still a good amount of time. Wow.
Yeah.
There's guys out there too that have everything down,
To science.
to what leather they're using, what thread they're using, how much of it. It's like secondhand nature to them. Where, I mean, I don't know how long it would take them, but I'd imagine it'd take them significantly less time than most people starting out. I mean,
Wow.
Right.
but at the same time, that comes with the skill, right?
Yeah, of course.
Me personally, for like a bifold, because like I say, I do work full time, so I get to it when I'm not at work.
Yeah.
But generally, on average, it's like about 7 hours, 6.5.
Wow.
It used to be like 9 or 10.
Yeah.
It's going down, so I'm down to like 6 hours.
I mean, that shows signs of progression right there, right?
Mhm.
Just simple as that. But still, that's a good amount of time.
It
Again,
is, yeah.
again, that increases the value of it. And again, this is my opinion. I'm not a marketer. I don't know what the, but for me, like, that just shows the value. And again, why you deserve to buy such a product, right? Something that's handmade, something that's like almost, love is put into it, passion is put into it, that again is not just factory, just bop 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 coming out and then and it going to waste.
And I think it'd be cool.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I think it'd be cool too if you could do like a sped up video of you making something like that. That way, like, people can see, like, wow, he puts a lot of work into that. I didn't know, because we don't know. We see the wallet, we're like, oh, that's really nice, but we have no idea. We don't know what you do. So that'd be really cool. Yeah, put some good value on it.
I do have something in the works to be posting something.
Oh yeah, nice.
Something along that line. There's another guy that I follow that does leather working, but he does lives on.
Oh, wow.
I think TikTok. I don't have a TikTok.
Wow.
Yeah.
I guess they do lives like they do Instagram lives, and he just kind of like he sets it up and then he just like works.
That's cool. You should do that too.
You just
That's awesome.
Yeah, I might do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ideas on how I can, use my phone and then use her phone and then do something set up so that there's a camera and then.
Maybe we should ask the photographers and videographers how to do that later.
He's like, I don't know any.
I don't know any. I don't have any friends who do that.
But their video, I like that sped up, because that was something. I was trying to think of how I can, broaden my Instagram. Yeah. I'm not an Instagram person. I like to just do the.
Yeah.
But obviously, if I'm going to scale at all, like, I have to be at least versed in it. So.
No, exactly. And
yeah, it does help.
I think one piece of advice is not overthink it. I think that's something I succumb to a lot. And again, with this project, I've kind of like took a step back, because with photography, man, I was like, I needed like, because I wanted to get into YouTube, and I wanted like everything big, right? I wanted like the studio, the best lights, the best sound equipment, the best, and I can't do it until I have that, right? And the reality is that nowadays, man, people are like, just your iPhone and just do it. I just put out content and you'll get better, and then 3-4 years from now you'll look back like, wow, I did that, look at me now, right?
Mm-hmm.
I guess, and it's funny because I give that piece of advice and I'm still trying to apply it on myself. So, but one of the last questions I have for you, Addison, is this something that you would recommend like younger generations to get into, or is this something you see a hype, or is this kind of like dying off and you wish that there was more people getting into it? What's your outlook on that?
So that is a good question. It's funny you say that, because leatherworking is like one of those trades that has been around forever.
Yeah.
People don't really acknowledge it because they don't realize that it's been there, but it has been there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Almost like woodworking, I mean, how long have people made saddles?
Yeah,
right.
good point. Yeah.
So It's but as far as something on the small scale of like small leather goods and stuff like that, I would absolutely recommend it for anyone who is looking to try to find like a craft or something that they wanted to create, as opposed to other hobbies that kids could inherit nowadays.
Yeah, it's true.
But for a creative outlet, oh yeah, it's something someone could easily get into to start off. It wouldn't be an issue. You actually had one question on here. I don't know if you're going to say it, but I want to bring it up.
Yeah, bring it up.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
You're going to ask me what the difference between full grain and what was it? Bonded leather.
Oh yeah. That's something interesting. I was researching and now I found it that there was a different, like there was a multiple types. So yeah, explain that a little bit. What does that mean?
But it's funny when you said that, when you asked that question in my head, I'm like, where did he pull this question from? What is he know about bonded? So bonded leather is like, it's like the hot dog of leathers, where like.
That's a funny way of putting it.
Well, it's you'll get scraps and stuff like that. Different scraps, they'll bond it together and they'll make.
Oh.
It ends up being like that thinner type of leather that you'll see on like upholsteries. Yeah, so like on your couches and chairs and car seats, that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay.
Full grain leather is what comes right off the cow. So it'll come off the cow. They'll cut it. They'll take the hair off, or if you want hair on, whatever the order is, and it gets sent to the tannery. That's your full grain leather. Not split or nothing. It's the original thickness and all that. That's your full grain leather.
Wow. Oh, wow. And what do you work with? I could take an assumption, but what do you work with?
It would be mainly, I want to say like top grain, because it's not the original thickness off of the cow. It is shaved down a little bit to at least what I use is a 4 or 5 ounce leather. They measure it in ounces as opposed to like a thickness measurement. But there's a little translator on Google you can look up from ounce to millimeter, whatever. But 4 to 5 ounce works out to be somewhere between like, I want to say 2.4 millimeters. So it's like relatively. It's thicker than most department store wallets, which probably run like a 1 or 2 ounce.
Oh, okay.
But it's mainly top grain stuff. In other words, it's not the underneath the skin that came off of the cow side of the hide. It's more the on top that's been tanned, dyed, that kind of stuff. Has a smoother top. Underneath usually has a little bit rougher surface to it, I guess you could say.
That's so interesting. And again, like I didn't know the complexities of it. So I'm trying to understand the people we're talking to, and Addison, without a doubt, his experience in leather work had a. Is everything okay, Addison, in the back?
Because I have a book.
Oh, I see. You have a book of like different types of leathers.
I just realized where I was right now. No. I have a book that I bought off of Instagram. It's like a super old leather working manual.
Interesting.
And it takes you from like the cow to like a wallet.
Wow.
And everything in between. And it like tells you how the cow, like how it's like skinned and how it's tanned and how it's hung and how you should store it and what direction the grains are going and stuff like that, the direction the hairs are going, that kind of stuff, and how to. Oh, it's a dope book. So yeah, I was sure.
Is that a type of resource you recommend to people? Like if someone's getting into it, that's a type of resource, like a straight up book, or what type of things would you recommend?
Books help. So that book helped. There is forums, leather working forums. There's tons of experience. I mean, years and years collectively of experience of like leather workers from all over the country. And I think it's called leatherworkers.net, something like that. They're like guys that own shops and stuff like that. And people will post questions and comments. And chances are, if you have a question about something, someone's already asked it and
Mhm.
someone's already answered it, and it's there.
Wow.
Yeah.
The other thing, because for me, I'm very much a visual learner.
Uh-huh.
I have over the years developed like an ability to kind of read and learn based off of what I've read and like using imagination to kind of figure it out. And then, but that's something I had to develop. I'm more of a visual learner. So if you're that way too, there's just YouTube videos. YouTube, how to cut, how to stick, how to assemble a leather wallet, how to skive, how to finish an edge, how to. You look up those how-to videos, and there's a huge community on YouTube for people that put how-tos out there for.
That just shows like nowadays how prevalent like these assets we have today of like the internet and YouTube. How like before we had to, if you think back, like if you want to be a blacksmith, you go to a blacksmith and he teaches you how to be a blacksmith. But now nowadays it's so like prevalent that you can literally just like look it up. If you want to learn, you can learn. It's honestly, you don't have excuses. So anyone who has any type of passion, just take advantage of the YouTube and learn, grind it. So thank you, Addison, for all that. Any last points you want to add?
Well, I was just gonna say there are guys out there that do take like apprentices and stuff for leathercraft. I actually got an offer from a guy who owns a store in New Hampshire.
Mm-hmm.
There was some friends of ours were out there doing a family day or whatever, and they went into this leather store, and he was like taking me around on a video, like check out this guy's leather store, and he talked to the owner, and me and the owner were talking, and he was like, well, if you wanted to come out here, like we could use a guy to work in the shop, and he goes, I'm not going to be around for much longer, so someone's going to have to take over. I was like, I had this, like, I looked at it, I was like, I can't do it. I'm like, I'm just considering it, thinking about it,
Do it.
Wow.
Girl, I'm just thinking about it. I
gonna do it.
I wasn't going to do it. I'm just thinking about it.
We had like a good conversation though. We talked about it.
That would be really cool.
We get that.
Yeah.
We'd like drive over to you guys.
Yeah, you'd be closer to us.
That's true. There's a lot of opportunities out there, so that's exciting. Keep grinding. So anyone out there, look up Addison AJ Oddities on Instagram.
AJ,
what did I say?
Aj's Oddities.
What did I say?
AJ Oddities.
Maybe I should change the name. It's too hard for me.
Oddities. Sorry. This Coke is hitting me harder. AJ's Oddities. Check them out.
Not a plug for Coke. That was not a plug for Coke.
Exactly.
Be a plug for Coke. Then send us a lifetime supply of Coke. No problem.
There you go. Sponsor. No, it's okay. But thank you for all that. We taken a lot of knowledge. That's so interesting. So many. Again, it's so beautiful to understand the complexities of something that, again, sometimes people take for granted. So for our listeners out there that, might hopefully are just listening to enjoy and learn more, this is something interesting that if you have a passion for it, go at it. Send a DM to Addison. Maybe he's willing to coach you up or give you some tips. Check him out.